evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you. We are back with yet another book launch event. I am here to virtually launch a book titled The Money Trail Mastering Financial Crime Compliance, authored by Mr. Amarjeet Singh. Before we start the conversation with the author himself, I would like to give a quick introduction of Mr. Amarjeet Singh. He is a highly accomplished compliance professional with extensive experience in financial sector, specializing in anti-money laundering and counter-terrorist financing. Throughout his career, Amarjeet has held key positions at leading international banks and financial institutions, where he has consistently demonstrated his ability to develop and implement robust compliance frameworks that meet the highest regulatory standards. His expertise extends to managing complex compliance operations, conducting through investigations, and ensuring strict adherence to evolving regulations. So, without any further delay, let me call on the stage Mr. Amarjeet Singh.
Hello, Miss Ridhima. How are you?
I am good, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much.
So, how do you feel, sir? Today we are virtually launching your book. Your book is available on Amazon. How is the feeling?
It's a fantastic feeling. It's just like a dream come true for me. So
I'm
that was
sure.
my dream to launch a book, and today is the day. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we often hear that, launching a book
Mhm.
is just like, having a baby in your hand. So, how did you feel once you
Yeah.
had the first copy in your hand?
It was, mind-blowing feeling, I would say. It was like, I achieved something in my life. So that was my dream from long time, where I was planning to launch my book, and suddenly one day I thought, okay, let's start it. Then I just started, writing the book, and today's the day I have my final book in my hand. So I feel proud of myself sometimes. Yeah, I did something in my life. Yeah.
Great, great, great. Your
Yeah.
happiness, on your face tells us the feeling. So, I gave a quick introduction about you. Can you tell our audience,
Thank you.
where are you from? What have you done professionally, personally? So, would you
Mhm.
like to give some introduction about your.
Sure. Sure. Myself, myself, Amarjeet. And basically from Jammu and Kashmir. I did my graduation from Jammu and Kashmir from Islamic College. Then I moved to Bangalore in 2010 to pursue my MBA. Then I did my MBA from IIM Bangalore. And after passing from MBA from the IIM Bangalore, then I got my first job in one of the top bank, which is the Deutsche Bank. I worked there for 2 years, and then I got opportunity to work with Society General Bank in India and Paris. Then I was working there. Then I got opportunity to move to Dubai, and in 2015 I moved to Dubai in work in HSBC Bank, which is one of the third top bank. So 3 years I worked in HSBC Bank. Then I got opportunity to work with one of the financial institution, with the biggest institution in Dubai, called a Sharaf Group. And I joined Sharaf Group in 2015, and as an junior level. And currently I'm the head of department for that company. I manage the compliance team of the complete Sharaf Group, and ensure that the regulatory requirements are implemented in a well. And yeah, I have total team's strength of around 35 people who are currently reporting to me, and I take care of all the legal and compliance requirements of the company.
Wow, wow,
Yeah.
such a wide experience. Uh,
Thank you so much.
so let's delve into this topic of financial compliance.
Mm.
So before we start, so would you like to tell us what is the concept of this financial compliance, and why is it necessary in today's global economy?
Yeah. I would say financial compliance, it plays a very important part in terms of, in all the financial industries, whether you are in bank, you are in exchange, you are in the NPB sector, or you're in insurance sector.
Right,
Because we know that crime is currently increasing day by day. We have a lot of fraud, we have a lot of extortion, we have a lot of drug dealings are happening around the world.
right.
And the people definitely need some money to, to use the money. Suppose that any person who is involved in the drug or something, definitely he needs some money to clean the money so he can go to the market and use that money freely. So
Yeah,
what they do, they use the financial systems, they use the financial technologies to route their illegal money, so they can convert into legal money and go and spend their money lavishly.
right.
So the thing is that the financial crime compliance has become a is called as, after 2010 attack on the world trade. So it has become a widely changed around the world. So the concept of looking at the financial crime has been completely be changed. Now earlier it was only financial crime was only talk about money laundering, but now it also includes the terrorist financing. So as a financial institution, it is a responsibility of the bank to ensure that their product and services are not being used for any of these financial crime services and anything. Otherwise, the bank will end up paying the huge penalties. They can end up, paying up the fines, and there is also a lot of things involved in that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a very big compliance for any bank, and it
Yeah.
will lead to many challenges. So, if we talk about challenges, so what do you think
Hmm.
are the challenges what the organizations face while implementing these financial compliances that you're talking about?
If I talk about the challenges, there's a big challenges which is what we can see, because the regulatory requirements are always changing these days. Okay, there's new landscape requirements are coming up, and meeting those requirements, you need a sophisticated systems. So it's not like you can run with a one or two system. You need to have a sophisticated system, the AI kind of systems, who can able to understand the transactions, who can able to give you the proper alerts and everything. So other thing challenge what I can see is a cost, because the compliance cost for the financial institution has been really been increased very, because we had to invest on the systems, we had to invest on the resources, we had to invest on the trainings, we had to invest on the policies, procedures. So the cost is really increasing. So this is what I can see the challenge in the financial industry. What I can see, the first thing is managing the resources, managing the staff, and also managing having the good and sophisticated systems.
Right. I am sure that these the cost is the major challenge, I think, because
Yeah,
implementing these kind of things require a lot of cost for the organization.
exactly. Yeah.
So, just to tell our viewers, today we are speaking to Mr. Amarjeet Singh. He is the author of The Money Trail, and his book is available on Amazon. It's live on Amazon. The link is there in the description box. This book is all about financial compliances, and we are going to discuss a lot about, the effects, the challenges the companies face, and you guys will learn a lot from him. So stay tuned, and we'll ask a lot of questions to him, and we'll try to get a clarity on this topic from the industry expert. So going to the next question, sir. So
Hmm.
what is a financial action task force, and what does the role it plays in the global financial compliance?
Sure. So, Financial Action Task Force, the FATF, it is a intergovernmental body which is headquartered in Paris. They are the one who has taken initiative to come up with the recommendations, the guidelines which all the institutions must follow that. So,
Okay.
what happens to the FATF? There are some, 40 correct active members are there, include India and all the big countries are the members of those countries. And what happened that they issues the guidances. They currently have a 40 guidances where they have issued, which who are the part of that, the FATF member, they has to must ensure that these guidelines are well incorporated or well implemented in their country level.
Okay.
So what we see in our AML compliance, the policies, our procedures, everything is all based on the FATF guidelines. So what the FATF does, he gives who are the member of the FATF becomes a member. Once you become a member of the FATF will come and assess the country, and they see whether whatever guidelines are there. Suppose you have to have a compliance policies, the procedure, the confiscation, the tariff financing controls, money laundering controls. So all these controls should be there in the country. So the FATF comes every 5 years. They come and visit the country and assess the central banks, the Reserve Bank of India, suppose in India, the central banks of UAE or somebody, they come and assess and see whether these 40 recommendations which are there are these been well implemented in the country or not, or if there is any gaps are there. Now in case if there is any gap in any of the recommendations or any of those controls, there is a gap in that, the FATF has a right to put the country into the gray list
Okay.
or into the high risk. Yeah. So you might see that if you go to FATF website, there is a countries which are into gray list or high risk countries. So those are those countries who have not implemented the FATF recommendation properly in their country. So that means there is a weak AML compliance framework is there. Now, if the country comes into the gray list or into high risk, there is a also reputation risk for the country. There is
Right.
also risk that you don't get a proper investment in the country. So overall, it will affect the country's growth and the country's economy as well.
Yeah, so obviously my next
Yeah.
question would be, the FATF's recommendations, how are they
Hmm.
influencing the national policies on financial crime and prevention?
Okay, like as mentioned before also, when any country makes any law or any regulations for the financial crime or for the terrorist financing, they take into consideration the FATF recommendations. Now, if you take any policy, any guidelines which is issued around the world, I'm talking about, it
Mhm.
will be all based on the FATF recommendations. If the
Right.
country is a part of FATF, then overall the laws, regulations, our standards, our guidances or white papers will all be based on the FATF recommendations.
Okay.
So it's you take any example if it is compliance policy. So because what happens that the financial crime compliance is a vast subject.
Right.
It includes your AML compliance, it includes your fraud, it includes your bribery corruptions, it includes a lot of things in that. So all these are very, very, connected to each other.
Right.
Very, very connected. So these FATF recommendations are very well designed, very well, elaborated. So uh, any company can adopt these recommendations in the country level as well as at the state level also, or at the institution level. Yeah.
Okay. So, while investigating financial crimes, like,
Hmm.
when we are investigation, yeah, like you said, there are a lot of financial crimes that happen. So, when we
Yeah.
are investigating, what are the key steps involved? If you can tell us in brief.
Hmm. See, the key steps when we investigate any financial crime case is that first of all, you need to see the transaction, what is happening in the transaction. Okay. First of all, if you talk about the financial crime, there are two important pillars in financial crime. Talk if we talk about money laundering or terrorist financing. Okay, the first about to check about the screening. Okay, whether this customer is a sanctioned or not, whether it is sanctioned by any UN, OFAC, EU, HMT, or any of the international list.
Right.
Second talks about the transaction monitoring, which is again the pillar of the compliance. So two pillars: one is sanction screening, second pillar is about transaction monitoring. So answer to your question is that whenever we do the monitoring of the transaction, whenever we investigate about any transaction, we have to ensure that we must check each and every information of the customer. Suppose two things we can check. The first is the KYC information of the customer, what
Right.
the customer is does, where he's from, what he's doing, how much his salary, where he's currently working, and how much is the past activities, whatever he's doing that. And then you match with those activities with the current transaction, what he has done. Giving you an example here, suppose a customer who is buying a property of 1 crore, okay,
Mhm.
and but you see he is buying a property of 1 crore, but in his account and his business activity, or he's a salaried person, but his salary is only 50,000. Okay. But a
Okay.
customer is buying a property of 1 crore. Okay. But his account does not have any funds.
Right.
Okay. His account is only 10, 15
This is
lakhs only, but the property, whatever he's purchasing, is about 1 crore. So that means there is something going on. That means the customer, that he is purchasing a property for 1 crore, that means not being generated from his legal source. So
yeah.
you need to investigate that where the funds has come from. If the customer is purchasing 1 crore property, where the funds are coming from, whether he has sold his another property, or whether he has got something from his father, mother, or something,
Still
or
work.
maybe he has, maybe he's involved in any of the illegal activities, maybe in drug selling or something extra, any fraud where he's getting the money. So these all the things are connected to each other. So two important thing is that one is the source, what is the source of the funds, and second, what is the purpose of the transaction, where you always need to carry in your investigation to understand the complete money trail. That's a book. The name is called
The
Money
money
Trail.
trail. Yeah.
To understand and complete money trail end to end part. What is the source and what is the ultimate purpose of the transactions?
Right.
Yeah.
So, the organizations which are dealing with these kind of things. So, what are the
Hmm.
most common financial crimes that that occur, so that we can be aware of that.
Hmm. See, the most common crimes what we have seen is providing the fake IDs. Okay, the customer who providing the fake IDs. There we also seen a customer providing the fake documentation. We have seen a customers means like I gave you example, the same example I will connect again. A customer who bought a property of 1 crore and he has given a bank a document where he says that I have got a gift from a friend, or I have got a my ancestral property, or
Yeah.
maybe I have something. When you verify the documentation will all will be fake. You might have got some notary, paid some amount to the notary and made those documents and everything. But this is a common what we have seen. Apart from that, we also have seen a common trend where um, this one what you can the people who are blacklisted, or those people who are involved in illegal crimes, they
Mhm.
mostly don't open account on their name. They
Right.
use their children's account, they use their family's account, they use their father mother account
Right.
to do the transaction. Same thing happen at corporate level also, where we have seen that the actual person who is running the company, he is not the one who is owner of the company. So what these criminals do, they know that I'm involved in some of the crime. My name is there in the listed. If I open my account, if I open my company, the bank or financial institution will catch hold of me. So what they do, they don't come in front. They open the company on their children's name, on their father's name, and
Somebody
but
who has
behind
a
they are the one
good
who runs
white
the company.
background. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's called another thing. What we've also seen the shell companies where they just open the shell companies, and there is company is not there. There is just it's on the paper. But when you go and visit the company will won't be there. It's just a shell companies. So just open to launder their illegal funds and everything. So there are thousands of cases what we have seen on daily basis. What is happening that, but
And these
these
are
one
very
are the most
common.
common one.
These are actually very common
These are
because
very very common.
as you're
Yeah.
giving examples, this is something that comes on news every other day of having.
Yeah, exactly right,
Yeah,
right.
this is
Opening
very
shell companies in different regions. I don't name those regions, but there are different regions where you can easily open up the company without
common.
any documentation, without any hard documentation. And then once the company is open, they can easily transfer their funds to,
Right.
and to look like it's a capital investment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So actually, you're giving a very relevant examples, and I'm sure our viewers are enjoying this interaction. And post this, interaction, they will be able to, know all these terms because as a layman,
yeah,
many people don't understand these kind of activities that happen, or how the organization face that. So, coming to the next question, what are the critical elements of a comprehensive, financial comprehensive compliance framework? So, what are the key elements for that?
the key, I would say, we can also call as the pillars of the AML compliance function. Okay, each and every institution, if they want to adopt or they want to make their compliance strong, there are key pillars. The first pillar is that there should be a designated AML compliance officer in the company, or we can also call it MLRO, money laundering reporting officer, which should be appointed by the company and should directly report to the board, not to the business, which is one of the main important criteria. Second thing, what I would say, there should be AML compliance policies and procedures, okay, defined completely, should be approved by the board as well, okay. Third thing, what I can see, there should be a KYC procedures in place. Okay, you should not deal any or onboard any customer without performing any kind of KYCs. Fourth thing, what I can see, there should be a sanction screening framework in place. Okay, there should be a systems in place like a sanction screening systems, the sanction screening policy. So what happens whenever you onboard any customer, you ensure that the customer you are onboarding or you're dealing with the customer is not sanctioned by any of the list in any of whether it is UN, OFAC, EHMT, or maybe your internal, your country regulator also. Sixth thing, what I can see, there should be a transaction monitoring. Okay, there should happen the transaction monitoring on the customer to ensure that to what the customer is doing based on their transaction patterns, based on their daily transactions. Sixth thing, what I can see is there should be a training methodology in place. Okay, you should also train the people because I mentioned initially that compliance is a vast area. There is always a challenge. There is always a different typologies, trends coming up. Okay, because what happens that criminals are always
Keep
one
on,
step ahead.
yeah,
Always one step ahead. Okay,
keep
you
on
put a
thinking of
control
new
for
things.
exactly. So you put a control today for this, they will come up with another thing tomorrow.
Yeah,
So you know that currently that cryptos,
yeah,
how it
yeah.
frauds are happening on the crypto, that tradish financing is happening on the cryptos. So they always are one step ahead. So the training is very important to the staff, so they should be aware of that, what to accept and not to accept. The last thing what I would say is that about an internal audit, very important place. Your internal audit plays a very important role. So every financial institution should have an internal audit team, or
Yeah.
in case if the company is small, they can also outsource the internal audit team, so we can come assess your compliance function and directly report to the board. So these are the seven important pillars of of the AML compliance framework. Yeah,
Wow. So it totally makes sense. And as you said that the criminals are always ahead, I'm sure that they come up
exactly.
with new things, and you have to get those
Mhm.
frameworks accordingly adjusted and
Exactly.
revised
Right.
time to time.
Absolute.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So how can an organization establish effective programs and controls to ensure compliance with global standards?
The most important thing, like I mentioned, that there should be a compliance officer, should be approved by the board. He is the one who should be responsible for implementation of the AML compliance framework in the organization based on their regulatory requirements, okay, as well as international best practice. Now, there are two things here is that first of all is having the AML compliance policies and frameworks in place. Second thing is that, and to ensure that these frameworks and controls are working properly or not. So
Right.
for them, it is a responsibility of the compliance officer to perform a regular testings on the systems, regular testing on the control framework what they have. Okay, the
Okay.
compliance officer should perform at least quarterly testing on their ML compliance framework. And they should, as I mentioned, that internal audit plays a very, very important role.
Right.
So it is a responsibility of the internal audit team to always come, assess the compliance control, assess the compliance framework, assess the system, whether it is working as expected to work,
Right.
and report directly to the external auditor. Apart from one more thing, which is a good control for the organization, is that they should also hire somebody from the external party, means somebody from the external who can come and assess their compliance framework and report directly the report to the board. In case of any gaps are there, they should perform the gaps and assessment also. So gap assessment plays a very, very important role, and it is a responsibility of the AML compliance officer or the MLRO to ensure that they must perform a gap assessment on a regular basis. Whenever we receive any update from the regulator or there is any change in the typologies or an update in the typologies, we should always perform a control testing to ensure that we have a control in place and it is working as effectively as expected.
Right.
Yeah.
So, all these points that he has been telling us, the insights is from his book, The Money Trail, which is already available on Amazon. And anybody who's enjoying this interaction can even go ahead and purchase his book. The book link is in the description box of this video. And I'm sure that somebody who is from this field, or maybe who is interested in knowing all this things, will be very happy with the knowledge that he has imparted in the book. This knowledge he has gained through years. So yeah, so please feel free to purchase the book, and the link is there in the Amazon link is there in the description box. So coming to our next question is, how do international agreements shape financial compliance standards across different countries?
I would say the most important example what we have is Egmont Group. So Egmont Group is a international body
Okay.
who are connected with all the FIUs. Now, what is FIUs? FIUs are, there's a separate department, okay, in the central banks. I means each country has a central bank. We have a Reserve Bank of India, Dubai has a central bank of UAE, Kuwait has a central bank of Kuwait. So
Right.
each country has a central bank. Now, in this central bank, there is one division called as FIU division. FIU means Financial Intelligence Unit, okay. So whenever any financial institution, whether it is bank, any kind of FI, they identify anything suspicious in any of the customer or the transaction, it goes to the FIU. And FIU is the one who receives all the STRs from all the financial institutions and then analyze those STRs. In case they need any further information, so they have all the central bank FIUs, whichever FIUs are there, are a part of the Egmont Group. Now, Egmont Group is a one entity which is connecting all the FIUs together.
Right.
Suppose FIU, a customer who's currently in India, okay, and he has done any crime in India, and somebody has reported about his customer to the FIU. Now, that customer is also part of the UK. No, he's also stayed in UK. He
Yeah.
is back. He has account in UK. Now, through that FIU, through that Egmont Group channel, they can take information of the customer from that UK account.
The UK
So
company.
they can reach out to the FIU through internal Egmont Group. They also have a separate system. Through that system, they request the customer to provide the information. That's the reason there is always a treaty between the countries. So,
Right.
like recently, you might have seen UK has signed a treaty with India
Mm-hmm.
that we will share all the information.
This way,
It's
the
like a
criminals do not run away.
exactly, exactly right. That's a called a reciprocal, agreement. So,
Yeah.
like UAE has currently signed agreement with the India, most of the countries. So that means that India has already got a treaty with other countries where they can share the information and
Right.
whatever information records the customer
Exchange.
regarding his accounts or anything. So this is how all these countries come together and fight for the financial crime compliance.
Yeah, very, and it is needed also, because then
Exactly right.
international.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, could you discuss some key international standards that govern these financial compliances?
The most important part, like I mentioned, that it is a FATF, okay, which is the international body and which has recommendations which all the countries has to follow. Whoever is a member of that. Apart from that, there are Basel committees, okay, which is mostly talks about the, the banking side, the private banking, the KYCs. Like they always issue the white papers and everything. There is also a Wolfsburg. Okay, the Wolfsburg also have a white papers on the KYCs, on the due diligence part, on the transaction monitoring, on the screening part. So these are the major three one which the financial institution should take into consideration while designing the AML compliance framework in their organization.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, as I just one question apart from these
Yeah.
information that I'm asking, like,
Mm.
why did you thought of writing a book on this subject? Because only because of a profession, or
Mhm.
you really think that this kind of book is needed for the audience to know. So, why was this book that came into your mind, and when did it
Um,
come into your mind?
See, as I mentioned before, the compliance is kind of evergreen area now. Okay, there is a huge opportunity for for the people who want to make a career in that. Okay, because there's a lot of scope in that. Okay, it's not only in one country, wherever you go, because there is a financial crime, fraud is happening everywhere. Financial crime, money laundering, terrorist financing. There are a lot of crimes which are happening everywhere. There is no country where there is zero crime. Right. So wherever there is a crime, you will have opportunity there. So
Yeah.
anybody who want to make the career in financial crime, they can read this book. They will get a complete idea about it, and they can take make his career in the compliance. Now, answer to your question, why would I thought to writing this book on that? Because I thought, let me educate something what I have learned throughout my career. I have currently around more than 15 years of experience in the financial crime, which I know something, which I'm not saying I'm the master in that, but yes, I know something. So I thought of sharing my knowledge, whatever experience I have gained, so I can write a book on that. So tomorrow somebody is, you know, whether he's planning to start their career in financial crime, or he's currently already working in some of the financial sector, he will take advantage of that book. So if you read my book, I have covered very layman language. It covers each and every part, so anybody reads that, he will able to understand what exactly is a financial crime. And in case if he joining any organization also, he will be able to understand that how can I adjust myself there, what things I should know as a compliance officer or as MLRO of the company to have a sophisticated AML compliance framework in the company.
Right. So, so I'm sure, very less people think about this, like, whatever knowledge they have, they want to
Yeah.
impart it into a form of a book. So, first of all, thank you on behalf of all our viewers that you
Thank
thought
you.
of it, and, you gave us this information and, through a book, and this book can reach through masses, and whoever is
Mhm.
benefited can thank you for the knowledge that you've imparted. So, coming to our next question, sir,
Hmm.
what are the legal frameworks that are in place to combat money laundering on a global scale level?
Okay. So there are many legal frames in place. It all depends upon a country to country. If you talk about the higher level,
Mhm.
each country definitely will have their laws, their regulations in place. They will have the standards in place. Based on that laws, regulation, the standards, the central bank issues the policies and procedures and the guidelines to all the financial institutions down the line.
Okay.
Now, these all the laws, these all the regulation, these all these, what you can call these standards. These are all based on the international regulations, international guidelines. Now, guidelines, we can take a FATF guideline, we can take a Basel guideline, we can take a Wolfsburg guidelines, we can take SACG guidelines, APG guidelines. So, all it all depend on the sector wise, which sector you are in. You are in into banking sector, you are in the insurance sector, you are in exchange sector, you are in the NAPB sector. So any sector of these will have their separate policies, procedures based on the laws and regulations set by the government of the countries,
Okay.
taking into consideration all these different levels. Yeah. So it all depend on country to country. If you talk about the US will have their own federal laws, their different laws, and based on that, they can implement the policies, they can design the policies for different institutions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how have these legal frameworks evolved to address the modern money laundering techniques. So as we were talking about, like there is
Mm.
a lot of new things coming up every now and then, and there are criminals are always ahead of time. And
Yeah.
so how
Yeah.
are these addressed?
See, uh, what I would say that, each country must access their risk assessment. Okay.
Okay.
As I'm not talking about the institution level. Institution level is a separate part, which we can talk it separately. I'm
Mhm.
talking about the country level. Now, each country has its own inherent risk. Okay.
Mhm.
That's a responsibility of the country, the responsibility of the central banks of their country, of
Mhm.
the government, to see what are the inherent risks involving in their country. Whether
Right.
there's a risk of money laundering, there's a risk of fraud, there's a risk of extortion, there's a risk of terrorist financing, there's a risk of piracy of product, there's a risk of counterfeit of the products, whatever XYZ, whatever is that.
Right.
No, when the country perform a national risk assessment, we can also call that national risk assessment, which every country must perform at least 1 or 2 years of gap and see what is risks are there in the country, and for those risks, what are the controls we have in place. No,
Okay.
with this kind of approach, each and every country will protect himself from any kind of fraud or any kind of misassumption or anything happening in the country. So one important point is that the country should understand what are the inherent risk involved in the country. The same should do by the company only. Now, if there is any company or it's a bank, take an example of the bank. No bank cannot have a general framework for the compliance. Okay, they cannot have a generally design the rules in the system. No, they should able to understand what are the risk involved, what type of customer they are dealing with, whether it's low risk customer, high risk customer, or medium risk customers, what kind of product and services they are dealing with. Now each product has got a different risk in that. You are into remittance, you are into forex, you are into loans, you are
Mm.
into private banking. Each product has got his own risk in that. Now, there is a responsibility of the company to understand the risk involved in each product and put a proper controls in that based on the international standards which has come from the regulator. So this is in general, in short, how the risk assessment should be performed by the companies at the institution level as well as by the country level.
Correct. So, so you have answered our next question, that how an institution can help. So I'm sure, because it's a collective effort. This is what I
Exactly.
can get from your
Yeah.
answer, that
Yeah.
it's a collective effort of stopping this money
Mm.
laundering. No one
Exactly.
organization can control.
And what I also feel that when you work in any, as a compliance officer, so you will feel not only you have done something for yourself, okay, definitely you will get your salary by end of the day, but you will feel you have done something for the
For
company,
the company
and
and the
you will feel you have
country.
done something for the country.
Yeah,
Because as a compliance officer, if you are able to handle the if you're able to stop the money laundering,
you have
if you're
stopped
able to
it.
stop the terrorist financing, that means you are contributing to the country.
Right.
Okay, you're
So it's
contributing
actually
towards
a
the
very,
society.
very sensitive work. It is actually
Yeah,
a very
you are
sensitive work.
contributing to the society. It's not only you work for yourself, you working for the company to protect the company for any fines, for any legal actions, and same way you're also working for the country to protect the country to have any involvement any kind of these
Right.
financial crimes.
So now, coming to banks and financial institutions that we were
Hmm.
talking about. So how do they prevent financial crimes?
It is the same way. If, as I mentioned, that they must ensure that they should have a strong compliance framework, because you know that the financial crime is increasing day by day. There is around, if you take the statistics for last in June, there
Mhm.
is around I think I would say uh, more than 100 billions of dollars of financial money laundering is happening in a year around the world.
Okay.
So that means, I know you might have also seen that how the regulators are imposing the fines on the financial institution, huge fines.
Right.
There was yesterday there was a news for one of the bank where the RBI has imposed around 54 crores of fines for the due to lack of AML compliance controls.
Right.
So the same thing happening with the top banks also. It doesn't mean that the top bank does not have the framework. They have a framework,
But
but how
that's not.
effective is the framework is
Yeah.
that depends on that. So they can protect ourselves, ensure that they would have a compliance framework. They should have a sophisticated system which is working as expected.
Right. Got it.
Yeah.
So, with the technological advancements, we
Mhm.
see AI coming into picture. We have seen so many things that have changed
Yeah.
over the years. So, how this helps? how this helps in detection and prevention of these
Mhm.
financial crimes?
Yeah, very, very important question. I think it's a very good question. We have seen, you know, AI is shaping. AI is a future for everything now.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
if we don't upgrade ourselves, if we don't implement AI, if we don't take advantage of the AI, then we will not reach nowhere. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if we talk about only for AML compliance framework, AI is helping the financial institutions in quick onboarding of the customers, which is a very, very important thing. Now, previously, what used to happen if you want to open the account, you have to go to the branch. Okay, you have to visit any nearest branch to go take all your documentation with your file, go and open the account, right? Now, it's
Nothing else.
changed now, right?
It's
You
online
don't need to
everything.
visit to the branch. Everything is
Yeah.
online. It's called that, the beauty of AI. Now you
Yeah.
have to sit in the one place and you just look at your face. You don't need to give your ID also these days, and
Yeah.
everything will be fetched immediately. That's the
Right.
beauty of the KYC. Okay, beauty of the AI. Same thing, what we have seen, AI can also be implemented in the framework of the sanction screening and monitoring also. No, I have seen that there are many, many financial institutions are there who are facing the high number of false positives. Okay, they are changing the high number of false positives, not able to manage. Then they have to deploy the more and more people. The team is keep adding. Today is 100 people, tomorrow will be 200, then 300. The cost is increasing. Okay, every day the cost is increasing. The resource cost, is one of the major costs for each and every company. Now, to avoid that cost, they can take advantage of the AI system. There are a lot of AI system currently available in the market who help. The AI system works as a resource for the company. You
Okay.
know, I
Mhm.
give you one example. I was a part of the one implementation project in one of the bank. The bank was getting around, they have a two teams, level one and level two team. Whenever the alerts get generated, it goes to level one. Level one team was having around 50 staffs who used to monitor all these level one alerts. And then when it is done, then it goes to level two team. Now, what the bank did, the bank deployed the AI system. Okay, AI system completely. Now, this AI system was working on behalf of the 50 people. It
Wow.
replaced 50 resources and it completely managed complete transaction screening. Okay. And those 50 people has been gone out for the company. And the cost also, they reduced around 60% of the resource cost.
Right.
And
Which is
second
which
thing,
is
what
quite
thing they achieved,
interesting. Which is
I
quite
count interesting.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Very
And
interesting.
other thing, what they achieved by the company, they achieved the good quality because sometimes because we are humans, right? We make mistakes, but
Yes.
machine
AI
don't
does.
make mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
AI
it
does.
doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't make mistakes. Second thing, there is a improve in the tat also. Now, a
Yeah.
person, sometime when you get any transaction, he sometimes is busy on their phone, sometimes busy on the call, or sometimes this, that, and all. But
Beeps
AI
and everything.
save the
Everything.
seconds. The AI system, the kind of system which has a capacity to clear 12,000 alerts in 1 hour.
Wow.
Whereas if you deploy a people, they'll not be able to clear 12,000 in a month.
Wow. Yeah.
So they have shifted from human to AI completely.
Right.
So it played a very, very important role for the institution.
I'm sure. I'm sure. And, as we were talking about international collaborations, we were
Hmm.
talking about earlier in our questions that a lot of international institutions are helping these kind of regulations. So, what are some
Hmm.
successful examples of collaborations that have, helped in, prevention of these financial crimes? Some examples that.
The most important, what we have seen, there are many banks which are getting collaborated with other banks currently for the information sharing. So for that, like I mentioned, there is an information treaty. Once you sign, the countries will sign that treaty with other banks or with other country. They have a right to share the information from any kind of whether it is account related or it is transaction related.
Okay.
Same is happening at the currently at the institution level. Suppose bank, State Bank of India, okay, and is in India, okay, and they have another bank. Take an example of Emirates NBD Bank, okay, here they both can sign a treaty with each other, right? Any kind of information will be shared by you. Okay, we will share with you whatever required, and we will share with you. So it's like a legal agreement, or it's kind of memorandum of understanding. We can also call as legal treaty, where the both the companies or both the countries sign together to share the information with each other.
Right.
Yeah.
So, as of now, we were answering all the questions related to what is happening, like what is in
Hmm.
present. So, what do you
Yeah,
think is the future of these financial compliances? With the evolving financial crimes, because I think this has come to our discussion two, three times that every day we are facing a new crime. Every day we are facing new
exactly.
minds that are trying to have these compliances fail. So, what do you think that what is this future of the financial crimes?
I
Uh,
would say the future of financial crime compliance experts are very, very bright. Okay, there's a very bright future for them because, we cannot make the financial crime stop. We cannot make it zero. It always being adding. Where you see where we were last 10 years, we had only few crimes last 10 and see where we are currently. And it's all keep adding. Criminals are always one step ahead. You will
right,
see the new crimes coming up. What is happening with the cryptos, right? We know it's in front of us. What is happening with the blockchains, which is a very bad, very good technology, but criminals identify the loopholes in that. So whenever there is any technology, there will be a loopholes for that. There will be a kind of crime in that. There is no technology, no field where you don't find a crime. They don't find
loophole.
anything crime. So
Yeah, everything is
loophole or something. No, that's the reason I said the future is very bright for the compliance experts in the future, because it's not only in one country, it's everywhere. Because the financial crimes, it will be keep happening. And we cannot stop that also. We cannot make it zero. It will be there. We can only protect or we can only control, but we can never ever make it zero.
So, what do you think? Extending this question about the future. So, what do you think?
Hmm.
How the organizations should do what the organization should do to keep adapting to these regulations, or maybe to keep adapting to these compliances that will be always changing. So, what an organization
Most
should
important thing is that they make sure their systems are up to date.
do.
They
Right.
make sure that they should not use outdated systems or something. The system should be up to date. Their team, their compliance officer, MLROs, they're down the line, level one defense, level two defense, level three defense, should be aware of what is happening in the market, should be aware of the latest or regulations, the standards, the guidances, the typologies, the trends, what is happening in their country. So they update their AML compliance framework every time. So
Right.
most important thing is that two things. One is awareness. Okay. Second thing, their systems, and third thing is that their knowledge. They should always be up to date with what is happening in the market.
Yeah, this is actually, I think this is applicable for every field, because you need to
Exactly right.
upgrade
You
yourself.
have
You
to
can't
upgrade
be.
yourself. If you don't upgrade, you will not understand what is happening.
Yeah, I think this
Yeah.
is applicable to every field. So Amarjeet ji, what response are you getting for your book? आपकी book market में आ गई है. How do your family, friends, colleagues, how are they reacting to this book? Have they gone through it?
Exactly, they have gone through it, but most of many of them, it is a new field. They have not heard about what is financial crime compliance, because most of time, because we only listen about banking sector and all those things, but financial crime compliance, I have seen the people have less idea about it because we don't talk much about it. That's the main thing. And if we talk about US, UK, Canadian market, the people has some kind of awareness on that. I know some, but they have a huge, good awareness about it. But if
Right,
we talk about in India and other regions, the people have less awareness about the financial crime compliance,
right,
and they are very much interested to know about it. They are very much keen to know about it. And they have seen, many of my friends who are into working different sectors, and they want to join the KML compliance. So they call me, sir, how to can please guide us, how we can make our future in that, how can we start our career in that. Because as I mentioned, that it's evergreen market, the opportunities are very huge in the market. The pay scale, the package, the opportunities, the hikes is very great in the market, and you can always grow in your career. It's not like you will become stagnant. You will always grow in your market as long as you get more experience, as long as you do more certifications, as well as learn more about the financial crime.
right. So you're getting a good review on your book, like whatever knowledge you're
Yeah, the reviews are very good. The people are happy to read about my book. So they are getting some new things. We are learning about it. We're not aware of that these things also happening in the world.
getting.
So yeah, they're happy to know about it.
So any plans of any future books?
Uh, there is a plan. Maybe I'll come up with another book also. I'm just thinking about it. I don't want to reveal it here, the book name, but
Yes,
but
I'm
it will
sure.
be more similar with the financial crime compliance only.
Okay.
So maybe by next year, after September, maybe after December, you will see another book from my side.
Wow. So we'll be
Yeah.
waiting for that. So
So,
we have a lot of viewers that are upcoming authors, that are budding authors. So any suggestion, because it's your book, it's the first time that you have thought of writing
mm.
a book. So any suggestions that you can impart to those budding authors, in case any field they're writing a book. So anything that as an author you want to share, your experience or any suggestion.
See, in my view, I just say if you are good in anything, okay, if you have a knowledge, please share it. Don't keep it yourself, okay?
Correct.
If you are good in anything, whether you are in your professional life, your personal life, or whatever life you are good into that. If you have gained the knowledge, I would always suggest to share the knowledge, which is a very, very important thing. Don't keep it yourself. Try to give people, okay, give something to the people. And I would say giving something and knowledge is a very big thing. Knowledge
The
always be
legacy,
with the
actually.
people every time. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Amarjeet ji, we are thankful to you that you came onto our platform and talked
Thank you.
about your book. And it was actually a very
Mhm.
interesting topic. And I got to learn a lot of things about financial compliances.
Thank you.
As a
Thank you.
layman, I did not know about all these things. And thank you for
No problem.
enlightening us with all the knowledge. Any last words that you want to say to our viewers, or maybe who is going to
Mhm.
maybe make a career in the field of financial compliances, or organizations who is ever watching it? Any last message from
Mhm.
you?
My last message is that, guys, if you want to make your career in this field, it's a very, very great field, I would say. Okay, and only thing what you need to in this, if you want to make career in this field, you have to be up to date with the regulations, with the guidelines.
Right.
Don't worry about the career. Okay, your career will automatically grow. You will definitely grow in your life if you are in this field, and if you are aware of what is happening in the market.
Right.
If you perform any good certification, there are a lot of certifications are there, the CAMs are there, CFEs are there, CGSS are there. If you're starting your career and taking some of the certifications, I'm sure you will be amazed in your life. You will reach in a higher position in any of the organization. So yeah, last thing, in case if you need any guidance from my side, you can also reach out to me anytime.
Yes, and we would be needing your guidance, and we'll be sharing your
Sure.
contact details in the description box, so that in case anybody wants to connect to you. So thank you, Amarjeet ji, to join us here, to lend your so much time to us, and you have shared all the knowledge with us. So thank you so much. Thank you for joining, sir. So today we spoke to Mr. Amarjeet, who came here and told us so many facts about financial crimes and money laundering that not only happen on national levels but international levels. So thank you so much for watching this video. And if you've not yet subscribed our channel, do subscribe so that you can keep the notifications for all the future coming events. So we will be back with yet another book launch event. Thank you so much.